In a world hungry for hope, here's one small story with big power. Hope. They treat it like it's fragile, like it's something you hold with white gloves in a therapy room, whispering affirmations, hoping the universe listens. That's not hope. That's wishful thinking. Real hope, that's a weapon. It's sharp, dangerous. It's what separates the man who lies down and dies from the man who builds an empire with nothing but broken bricks and blood in his mouth. Let me tell you what weak is. Waiting for your big break, waiting for the right time, waiting until you're ready. You know what that is? Excuses dressed up like strategy. But hope, real, gritty, ruthless hope, it says, I'm not ready, but I'm going in anyway. It says, I've got nothing but heart and fury, and that's enough. When I was broke, not fake broke, can't go on vacation broke. I'm talking no heat in winter, sleeping on floors, loan sharks circling like vultures. The only reason I didn't become a ghost in my own story is because I had hope. Not the fluffy kind, the kind that punches back. Hope made me wake up at 5 a.m. when I had no guarantee it would pay off. Hope made me learn every skill I could while people laughed at me. Hope made me keep swinging even when my own people didn't believe in me anymore. You see, hope is dangerous to those who've given up because your hope reminds them that they quit. Your fire exposes their ashes, and that makes them uncomfortable. So they call you delusional. They call you obsessed. They say, be realistic. Well, realistic? Let me ask you something. Was it realistic for a broke kid in Eastern New York to become a 4-time world kickboxing champion and millionaire businessman? No. Was it realistic for a kid with no connections, no silver spoon, no safety net to build freedom with his bare hands? It wasn't realistic. It was hopeful, ruthlessly hopeful. And that hope, it wasn't a soft feeling. It was my ammunition. When life shot me down, I reloaded. When the world said no, I said, watch me. Hope isn't the opposite of strength. It is strength. You want to know why people lose? It's not because they didn't have talent. It's not because they didn't get a chance. It's because they gave up the moment it stopped being easy. They confused doubt with logic. They let the world dull their flame. But if you've still got even one spark in your chest, 1 ounce of that mad belief that says, I don't care what it looks like, I know what I'm becoming, then you're not weak. You're not lost. You're lucked. You're loaded. You're dangerous. That's what real hope is. Not a soft light in the dark, but a fire that burns until the dark backs off. And I promise you this, the man who walks into war with hope in his heart is 10 times more lethal than the man who walks in with nothing left to lose. Because that first man's got something to fight for, and he's not stopping until he gets it. The world doesn't owe you light. It doesn't owe you fairness, balance, or even a fair shot. And yet, people walk around like they're waiting for the universe to hand them a permission slip to start living, waiting for perfect conditions, for a sign, for someone to come along and gift them the life they think they deserve. Let me break the illusion for you. That light you're waiting on, it's not coming. No spotlight, no parade, no grand entrance. Not unless you bring it. This is the cold truth most people can't stomach. Life is indifferent. It doesn't hate you. It doesn't love you. It doesn't care. You fail, it moves on. You win, it moves on. The world spins either way, and that should liberate you, because once you understand that nothing is owed, you realize you don't need to ask anymore. You just take. When I was coming up, nobody was handing out flashlights. Nobody offered clarity. Nobody said, here's how you win. It was pitch black. Every damn step, confusion, chaos, pressure, doubt. That was the terrain. I didn't sit down and cry about it. I didn't call it unfair. I built my own fire in the dark. That's what separates winners from watchers. If you want success, then stop waiting for things to align. The universe doesn't align. You force it to notice you. You stomp so loud it echoes. You build such a bright torch that the world can't ignore you anymore, even if it wants to. And that torch, it's not built from comfort. It's not built from likes, followers, or some fake-ass validation from people who wouldn't show up to your funeral. That torch is made from discipline, grit, hunger, and the refusal to die ordinary. I remember when everything was against me, bank accounts empty, sleep non-existent, everyone doubting. I still showed up every day like I was on fire. I acted like I already was who I wanted to become because I knew one thing, no one was coming, so I became the one. Some of you are sitting in darkness, but not because life put you there, because you refuse to stand up and light something. You're blaming the room instead of realizing your hands are empty. You could build the light. You could become the light, but you're too busy explaining your pain instead of weaponizing it. Stop looking for the sun. Be the torch. Be the burn. Walk into any room like you own the floor, even if no one knows your name yet. Because that's what it takes. Not softness, not waiting, but pressure, heat, intensity. You don't get light by waiting. You bring it, you build it, you burn for it. Pain isn't the enemy. It's the architect. It's the fire that forges men. Everybody wants to rise, but nobody wants to bleed for it. That's the problem. People pray for success, but the moment life punches them in the mouth, they fold like cheap paper. They act like pain is some divine punishment. No, pain is the tuition you pay for greatness. And hope is the fuel that keeps you crawling forward when your legs are broken and the finish line is still a rumor. I've taken hits most people wouldn't survive, not just physically. Life hit me where it counts, bankrupt accounts. Betrayal by the ones I fed, women who smiled in my face while loading the gun behind my back. Nights when I stared at the ceiling, asking myself if I was delusional for trying. You ever feel that? That whisper in your head that says, maybe this isn't for you? That's pain. Testing you, seeing if you're made of cardboard or concrete. But through every blow, I held on to one thing, hope. Not some soft Hallmark card hope. I'm talking about the warrior's hope, the kind that says, I don't know how, but I know I will. The kind that keeps you pushing when logic tells you to quit. That's what keeps the heart beating when everything around you is dying. That's Hopecore. People asked me how I stayed focused when everything was collapsing. Simple. I let the pain teach me, not define me. Every scar was a lesson. Every heartbreak an armor plate. Every failure a strategy upgrade. Pain didn't kill me. It clarified me. It showed me what mattered. It burned away the weak parts and left me sharp, focused, ruthless. Most people avoid pain like it's a disease. They numb it with distractions, drown it in comfort. But I leaned into it. I used it. I looked pain in the eye and said, good. Now I know where the edge is. Because pain is the forge. It breaks you down so you can rebuild yourself stronger. But here's the secret. The forge is useless without fire. And that fire, that's hope. That's your why, your dream, your obsession that refuses to die, no matter how many times life tries to suffocate it. You need both. Pain sharpens you, hope drives you, and together they turn you into a fafting weapon. So the next time you're suffering, good. Let it hurt, let it bite, but never stop moving, never stop believing that all this pain is shaping you into someone untouchable. That's the game. That's the edge. The ones who win are not the ones who avoid pain, they're the ones who use it. And the only thing that makes that possible is the savage kind of hope that says, this isn't the end, it's the beginning of the beast I'm becoming. You don't need permission to dream big. You don't need a certificate, a mentor's blessing, or a blue check next to your name to start building an empire. That's the lie they feed you. That you have to earn your right to chase something massive. That you've got to qualify before you dare to think beyond your current life. Bullshit. If you're waiting for someone to tell you it's okay to go all in, let me be crystal clear. No one's coming. The world isn't going to knock on your door and hand you greatness on a velvet cushion. Success doesn't show up like room service. It's something you fight for every fucking day, without applause, without a guarantee, without anyone watching. See, society loves small. They love humble. They praise the guy who keeps his head down and doesn't make too much noise. But the moment you declare something bold, the moment you say, I'm going to be legendary, people get nervous. They tell you to be realistic, to slow down, to think smaller, not because your ambition exposes their lack of it. They want you in the cage. Same job, same habit, same circle, same ceiling. They want you to doubt yourself because it makes them feel better about never trying. That's why you've got to go beyond permission. You've got to operate like a savage who doesn't give a damn if the world claps or critiques. You dream so big it scares you. That's the bar. When I started saying out loud what I wanted, not just whispering it, but declaring it, I lost friends. I became too much. I got laughed at, mocked, written off. And every time someone doubted me, I dug deeper because I didn't ask for their permission. I never needed it. I only needed one thing, a decision to move, to take action, to keep showing up when nobody was watching, when no one was clapping. When I was losing, that's what separates lions from lambs. It's not talent. It's not luck. It's refusal to play small. You don't need to be born into money. You don't need perfect timing. You don't need a green light from your parents, your teacher, or the girl who ghosted you 3 years ago. You need balls, discipline, vision, and the audacity to say, I want more, and I'll bleed for it. Dreaming big is a threat to people who gave up on themselves. So dream louder, build higher, grind harder, because the only person you need approval from is the one you see in the mirror. And that person, they're waiting for you to stop hesitating and start dominating. It starts the moment you stop needing validation and start demanding results. The moment you say, I'm all in, with or without applause, with or without permission. That's where the real shift begins. The reason someone else believes it's possible, that's real power, not the cars, not the watches, not even the money. The real flex is becoming undeniable proof that you can come from nothing, that you can walk through fire, take every hit and still rise so hard and so loud that someone else, some broken kid, some man on the edge, some woman drowning in doubt, sees you and wakes up. That's legacy. That's impact. When I started, nobody believed in me. I was just another guy with ambition and no resources. No one was clapping. No one said, you've got this. They were too busy watching me fail and waiting to say, I told you so. And maybe if I had listened, if I had shrunk like they wanted me to, I'd be just like them now. Average, angry, invisible. But I didn't fold. I didn't disappear. I built myself into a symbol. I became the proof that relentless belief backed by ruthless action creates miracles. You want to know what's more addictive than money? Responsibility. The responsibility of being an example, of being the one who didn't quit, the one who kept showing up, the one who transformed pain into purpose and used it as a ladder instead of a leash. When people message me saying, because of you, I didn't quit, that hits harder than any deal, any prize, any trophy. That means my war wasn't wasted. You have no idea who's watching you. Some kid right now is stuck in a dead-end job, scrolling through his phone, surrounded by losers who mock ambition, and he sees you. He sees how you carry yourself, how you move, how you refuse to settle, and that spark inside him, it catches flame, not because you told him anything, but because you showed him. That's the key. Don't just tell people to believe. Live in a way that makes belief contagious. You become the walking billboard for hope. You become living, breathing evidence that limitations are just illusions sold to the weak. But don't get it twisted. It's not about being perfect. It's about being visible in the grind. Let them see the sweat. Let them see the setbacks. Let them watch you fall and get the F back up. That's what inspires. Not fake highlight reels, not filtered success, but the real, raw battle. People are desperate for something real, something powerful, something that reminds them they can still win, even if they've been losing for years. Be that. Be the reason someone else sharpens their sword instead of hanging it up. Be the reason someone gets back in the fight. Be the proof that it's never too late, never too far, and never too broken to start again. You're not just building your own freedom, you're paving the road for everyone watching in silence, hoping you make it so they can finally believe they can too. That's Hopecore, that's impact, that's immortality. So now you know. Hopecore isn't soft, it isn't pretty, it's brutal belief. It's defiance with a pulse. It's standing in a storm with bloody knuckles and a fire in your chest screaming, I'm not done. It's the refusal to bow, to break, to beg. It's the mindset that says, even if I have nothing left, I'll still build. You want the world to notice you? Don't just make noise. Be undeniable. Be the light when no one else shines. Be the proof when no one else believes. And when it gets dark, because it will, don't curse the sky. Be the damn torch. You were not born to be average. You were not built to blend in. So stop shrinking. Carry your scars like medals. Carry your vision like a weapon. And never, never apologize for wanting more, because the truth is the world bends for the bold. And Hopecore, that's the fire they can't put out. Light it, live it, lead with it. Now go out there and be the reason someone believes they can too. And if no one's clapping yet, good. Earn your applause, earn your legacy, earn your immortality. Stay dangerous. Stay hopeful. Be relentless.